Breaking tonight, we are getting a first-hand account from inside Reagan National Airport as that crash happened. Mary Dewing is a Virginia native and it just landed at DCA when the collision took place. She tells DC News Now she had just gotten off the plane and sat down at the gate for her connection when an American Airlines employee began talking to all the gate agents.
He went to each person, their face just dropped. And so then somebody said, crash, 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 code 3. Suddenly there were probably, I think I counted like 6 fire trucks, 2 or 3 ambulances, police. And so you could see them all going out. So we assumed somebody had landed and maybe went off the runway or something. We had no idea.
As she said, soon after, restaurants and bars turned down the news and everyone started watching. Dewing says people were crying and horrified as more information started to come out.
Audible gasp because it's shocking, you know, and they were so close to landing. I think, and that's what everybody kept saying, is they were so close, they were almost here. Everybody was trying to help each other, which is good. It always makes you have a little bit faith in humanity when everybody kind of starts trying to come together.
Yeah, isn't that true? Dewing says she managed to get a rental car and drive home, and on her way she drove past the rescue and recovery operations in the Potomac. She tells us it was so reassuring to see so many first responders showing up to assist. Well, coming up here on DC News Now at 9 o'clock, as we start to learn more about how this crash happened, we're hearing from a longtime Blackhawk pilot about the path that military helicopter was on. We also take a deeper dive into the history of U.S. airline crashes. What sticks out the most about this heartbreaking collision? Another live look at Reagan National as crews in the water, the recovery efforts. They will be back out there tomorrow morning. We do see some boats on the river for safety precautions right now. We'll be back with more breaking news here on DC News Now at 9 o'clock. All right, as we head to break, we're starting to learn who was on the American Airlines flight, as well as soldiers on board the military helicopter. 67 people are believed to have died in the collision. We'll continue to bring you much more on who the victims are as more information emerges. We'll be right back.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. DC News Now continues.
Welcome back to DC News Now. Time now, almost 9:15 on this Thursday night. Taking a live look towards Reagan National Airport, where recovery efforts, they will continue tomorrow morning on the Potomac River. And after that American Airlines plane collided with a Blackhawk military helicopter as it was about to land last night at the airport. Now, officials say there are no survivors and it has turned into a recovery operation. But flight operations, they have resumed once again out of Reagan National. Images show the aftermath of these two fateful flights. Recovery efforts winding down for the night, but tonight we're still trying to figure out exactly how this could have happened. Our weekend anchor, Ben Dennis, just spoke to a helicopter pilot who flew the same kind of aircraft that hit the passenger jet along the same route of the Potomac River. And Ben, this pilot really has some great perspective.
He does. We're diving into what possibly could have happened in the skies here. It's that fateful path for these 64 passengers and crew members who left Wichita, Kansas to Reagan National Airport last night. The 3-hour flight ending here over the Potomac River next to DCA. Now, this is the Army aircraft involved. It's often called the Blackhawk helicopter. We see them fly on a daily basis near the Pentagon and in between military bases nearby. Now, we're told the 3 soldiers on board were on a training mission and based at Fort Belvoir. This is near Mount Vernon. Initial reports indicated that the plane and helicopter collided between 300 and 350 feet above the ground. We have learned that helicopters in this area are not allowed to fly above 200 feet. Something longtime Blackhawk helicopter pilot Michael Sagely told me tonight. He now flies that same type of helicopter fighting fires in Los Angeles, but formerly flew in D.C. and near where this crash happened. I asked him about those black boxes now reportedly being recovered. I think some of this critical flight data and those black boxes, as we typically call them, is going to reveal, and what might the NTSB asking the Army right now?
They're going to have the black box on the aircraft to know its exact speed, altitude, heading, whether it's climbing or descending. They'll be able to piece together the exact timeline on what instructions were given, what response by the pilot was given. They're definitely going to, produce a better picture as time goes on. And that's the one thing that's kind of hard to do is to be patient.
Now, we did hear air traffic controllers make an attempt to notify the helicopter crew of the passenger jet and avoid it. It is questionable if the pilot did see this specific plane before the crash and if there was enough time to maneuver depending on conditions. Now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said that night vision goggles were on board. I asked pilot Mike Sagely about this. He said light pollution in the area could have affected the crew's sight when wearing those goggles, but we don't yet know if that was the case. We expect a preliminary report from the NTSB in 30 days. Ben Dennis, back to you, Chris.
Yeah.